and then like the best person I knew, like if that person like did everything right and he loses his life early, like what is this all for? I've gone through a ton of loss. I've lost both my parents.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've had a big part of fitness wise as well is, my dad passed away of a heart attack. His dad passed away of a heart attack.
How old was he?
He was 50.
That's young.
Yeah. And his dad passed away. So his dad passed away before, like right when he was born.
Wow.
And then
from the same thing.
Yes, a heart attack. But on my mom's side too, both my grandpa and my uncle had heart attacks. And so big part of why I'm so passionate about health and fitness is like, I don't want that to pass on to my kids.
You want to be there for your
I
kids.
want to be there for my kids. I don't want others to go through that too.
Yeah.
Like how traumatic that was for me at a young age, like losing your best friend of your dad from someone who seemed healthy too.
Yeah. So he kept relatively healthy.
Yeah. So he had actually just come in from a run. Like it was wild.
Wow.
And he had gained like dad bod. It wasn't like he was like incredible shape, but it was someone that, stayed consistent and still worked out.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably areas that he could have changed as well.
Sure.
And it's something that I like take extremely serious.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to go through that. I don't want my kids to have to feel that. I don't want the people that we helped to go through the pain that we did.
That's wow. How old were you when that happened?
So when my dad passed, I was 16, 17 almost.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right in the prime of high school. Mm-hmm. Jeez almighty.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that, actually, let me ask you this.
we just went a totally different direction.
No. This is important because like that's when you say the word your best friend, like, dude, I'm just, my dad is my best friend. Totally. I just couldn't imagine, So how did you feel when you found out, or what was going through your mind, man?
I was the only one there when it happened. So I had just got home from football practice, which was a big part of our connection too, which is why wanted to push into college, why I still have such a passion for the game.
Yeah.
Is because that's where we connected. I remember being a 5-year-old boy playing catch with him and playing games of, you get 5 points if you catch it with one hand. That was all of our conversation. Right. But I had just got home from practice. I was sitting in my room doing homework. And he walks in from the run, standing in the doorway in the middle of talking, just falls over. And he was
just
gone,
like that?
Just gone in the middle of a sentence. I'm the only one home alone. And so it was a, very traumatic experience that you have to grow up real quick. And so that was I think when you talk about the achievement part, that totally fueled that fire. So I think it already had it in me, but over those next 4 years, I became a completely different person, 10X of from where I was. Cool. I had done some singing and school was good, but over that next 2 years, even finishing high school, I was a National Merit Scholar. I was an all-state football player. I was singing in front of thousands of people, not because I even, I loved those things, but there was some sort of internal drive. I have to, prove something now. I have to live up to this. These were what he wanted for me. So definitely tough. And I have 3 older sisters too, and a mom. And so I was and it's I told you my mom had passed away. So it was kind of stepmom and 3 stepsisters. I don't see it that way because they're incredible in blood, or more important than blood to me.
Yeah.
But immediately have to grow up quickly because now it's I'm the man of the house. I gotta, so it was weird. I don't think I ever really, until more recently, processed through it or kind of found health in it. Yeah. It was more of a, I just got to step up and both prove myself, but then take care of the family. And this was a lot.
Cole, can I ask you, man?
Yeah.
The moment you saw your dad keel over, dude, can I just ask you, what was that like?
It was, I don't think I believed it. Okay. It was unreal. Because I think it was so so unexpected because there was no signs of it. There was nothing leading up to it. I think it was what they call the widowmaker too. So it was there was no idea they would have found it.
Yeah.
But it was surreal. It's my mom actually ended up pulling in 30 seconds later to the garage, and I heard it open. The only time I've ever yelled at my mom, and I was get in it, screaming.
Yeah.
But for me, it was it was something that honestly, I felt like it was in a cloud for a couple months. This isn't real. Is this my life? I don't think this is it. So I think it was more disbelief than anything.
A lot of people take a traumatic experience like that and they use it in a way of anger, almost to get back at the world, right? And almost because obviously there's a lot of people who come, on this podcast, a lot of people I've connected with, and a lot of people you've connected with, a lot of pain that happens in people's lives. And there's always a decision afterward that people make. It's fascinating to hear how many people take a decision, or even in the past have taken a decision of anger, frustration, especially when it's something so sudden, right? So
totally,
like unexpected, a lot. And this guy, I guess where this will come where I'll go with this is anger with God. Yeah. Especially it's people tough. Who come from faith, right? Of taking it out on God, right? Making God the like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, blaming him,
Did that ever go through your mind? Was that ever a thought process for you?
I think it does for anyone if they're real. Yeah. I think there's, and this is a problem that I have with any sort of religion, is most times people can't actually be real with their thoughts. Like they feel like they're going to get in trouble, or, they're going to disgrace themselves if they question God.
Yeah, right.
But I think the faith I have is very relationship based. It's not I care way less about structure, more about like the heart and, what I believe and, who God is to me. But I think there definitely was that. There was a period of, I don't know if it was even anger. It was more of just like, is this all real then? Like, this is the best person I know, the one that taught me my faith, my mom as well. But I had a different sort of relationship as a man. Like, this is the man I want to follow after. And then the best person I knew, like if that person did everything right and he loses his life early, what is this all for? And so there's a period of that, but I think, really it doesn't become faith until you have to believe when it doesn't make sense. And so for me, there was that decision point of either I abandon this whole thing or I got to lean in harder, knowing that all this is true or it's not, but I have to decide from here. And for me, I think deciding that this is something I still want to pursue, and looking back and seeing what else got, I think the story of what brought me to that point is a lot of what got me through it, if that makes sense. Because having lost my mom at birth, but getting to that point and now having 3 amazing sisters and a stepmom, if God hadn't worked all that together, from my belief, I would have been an orphan, had no one. Right. And so I think some of that, being able to look back and say, well, he's been with me this whole time. I've been able to get through this. Hearing my dad kind of talk about that too, up to the point, how God had gotten him through that and his faith had gotten him through losing his wife. Yeah. I think looking back and seeing that helped me have the strength to do it. And then also make the decision hey, it's what's gotten me here. I would much rather have this faith as a foundation than say abandon it all. And for me, that would unravel everything. It's what is my life at this point if that foundation is gone? If that makes sense.
No, I love what you just said, because you talked about it's more of the heart than the structure. And I think that's where a lot of people fall wrong, especially in religion. Totally. Is they become so focused and so heavily reliant on the structure of the religion as opposed to the principles of God, right? And the principles of God are this. There's God, there's light, but that means there's also evil and there's darkness, right? And not necessarily to say, it was the devil or anything, but it's just there's darkness, right? This is a fallen world. This is a mean and nasty place. And that means that there's going to be a lot of darkness in our life. But with the darkness also comes the light, and the understanding, the balance between that is the understanding of what God is and why we're on this life. How we grow is through pain. Right. Pain is a necessary piece of 100%. Our life, right? And I love, because when you put it like that was actually, because obviously I grew up LDS, right? LDS has become very rule structured, right? And I couldn't be more grateful for what I've learned about God and Jesus Christ and, and Christianity. But what I'm so grateful for as well is that when I gave 2 years of my life to serve God and serve the people of Texas, what the South taught me, because you're from the South, right? What I learned is less of rules and more of Christ, right? More of God. Yeah. And that was what more and more, the more I sat in people's living rooms and we had conversations about God, I'm 18, I'm 18, whether I'm speaking Spanish or English, either one. And I'm having conversations with people about God, and I'm seeing these incredible people like yourself, what they've gone through. And the more and more I look at it, the more I'm like, it's not about the rules. It's about who you are as a fucking human being. Yeah. And I'll throw out the fuck word, and people don't like that a lot, but it's like that's what it's about. Yeah. That's what it's about, is who you become. Yeah. That's what God wants. So when you talk about their faith and, less about the religion, more about the heart, I love that, because that's exactly what it is, man. Well, it's the principles of life,
that's right? What it had to become too, because at that point, all rules go out the window. Yeah. If, because all the rules I'd been living by, you do the right things, you have a good life. Well, it's like he did all the perfect things. So and his life was, exactly. So at that point, it's like, it's got to be relationship. Otherwise, none of this matters. And I think for me too, like really beginning to like actually choose a relationship at that point instead of the rules that I've been taught, it changed a lot for me. Like there was totally different, like and a vibe is not the right word, but like there's like a piece that was with me,
energy,
something I carried, an energy,
spirit,
like spirit. So like I think moving forward from that, there was some sort of like when I made that decision at the teetering point, there was a new sort of piece of like, you know what, I can't control anything in this world, so I have to just trust that there's a bigger plan than this, and I have to believe, like you said, that pain is going to drive something better.
No, I do. I love this, man. Everyone listening to this needs to fucking listen to this shit. This is gold. Like this is where happiness derives from in life. Actually, what you said earlier is discipline equal freedom, right? Dude, that is it. That is the message of God.
Yeah.
God wants you to be disciplined. That if you look at God and it's agency. God gave us freedom. God gave us agency. God gave us freedom, and He expects us to then learn discipline. That's where disciple comes from, right? I was literally thinking about this in my workout this morning about like, dude, like working out to me, because dude, I went through the football thing and I was working out football. But then I lost it, dude. I became so absorbed in my businesses that I lost my health and I gained weight from it.
It's a classic story.
Yeah. But then I really had a reinvigoration of like my thought process, not just working out just because I need to working out because it's spiritual, 100%. Working out because the discipline is what creates the freedom. But, and I know you're in the fitness industry, so we're going to get to that here in a sec, because I'm sure this is the message you have for all your people. But it's like people want to wake up like, oh, I have the freedom so I can sleep in, or I have the freedom to eat whatever I want. Yeah, you do. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. You have the freedom here in the agency that you're not an object being acted upon. You're the actual, agent doing the action, right? That's our life, right? And as you move forward in life, you realize that the discipline is what creates the freedom. 100%. It's the discipline. And that's why I love, like we talk, I think the world's really going away, especially in America, of like not wanting to talk about faith, family, football. But to me, that is the discipline. That's what creates so many incredible people. Like faith, having principles of life that guide my life, my family. What's more important than my family? Football. Dude, I mean, we could talk about the principles of football, for days.
There's so much it teaches you.
Sweat, blood, fighting. Like, we don't go to war like we did back in, the days of Sparta, right? No. So instead, we have a different form of teaching us to be men and teaching us to fight and push through pain and harness aggression, all those things, right? So the whole faith, family, football thing, people say it's old school. I'm like, good. Keep it, man. Those are principles,
There's a lot of our society that needs that right now.
Oh my gosh. And that's obviously what you're doing.